Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to explore something that often surprises people. The idea that drawing is not just art, it's thinking. When most of us hear the word drawing, we imagine an artist with a sketchbook or a painter in front of a canvas. But in this lesson, I want you to completely change the way you see drawing. Forget about good or bad drawings. Forget about talent. What we're talking about here is drawing as a thinking process. It's a way to clarify your ideas, organize your thoughts, and make invisible concepts visible. Think of drawing as another language, a language made of lines, circles, arrows, and shapes instead of letters and words. Just like you learned to write your first letters as a child, you can learn to write visually. Once you know the basic visual alphabet, you'll realize that you can express complex ideas with only a few simple strokes. Today, we'll practice the core elements of this visual alphabet and then use them to create a personal map, your own visual thinking river, a drawing that shows how you've learned and grown through different experiences. By the end of the session, you'll see that if you can draw a line, a circle, and a stick figure, you can already think visually. Activity 1. Visual Alphabet Warm-Up. All right, let's begin with a warm-up exercise called the Visual Alphabet. Grab your pen or marker and a blank sheet of paper. We'll start small so there's no pressure at all. Think of this as stretching your creative muscles before a workout. We'll practice the basic elements that make up almost any visual note, diagram, or sketch you've ever seen. Let's start with lines, the simplest and most powerful visual tool. Draw a few straight lines. Now try wavy lines and then zigzag ones. Notice how each line already carries emotion. Straight feels stable, wavy feels relaxed, zigzag feels energetic or tense. Next, let's move to arrows. Arrows show direction, movement, or cause and effect. Try drawing arrows of different thicknesses and lengths. Maybe add curved ones to show circular movement or feedback loops. Now, draw containers. These are shapes that hold ideas. They can be circles, rectangles, bubbles, or clouds. Use them to group information or highlight what's important. Let's add stick figures. These are your characters. Don't worry if they look funny. That's part of the charm. Draw a simple human figure standing, waving, running, or thinking. You can add small gestures or facial expressions to show emotion or action. Next, practice a few icons. Draw quick symbols for common things: a book, a clock, a sun, a heart, a light bulb. These small images instantly bring meaning and make your ideas more memorable. Finally, draw some emotion lines. These are abstract marks that express feelings, like a burst of energy, a swirl of confusion, or a vibrating line for excitement. They add mood and rhythm to your drawings. Now look at your page. You've just created your own visual alphabet. Every complex drawing you'll ever see is built from these simple elements. Let's make it more interesting. Here's a challenge for you. Draw a visual metaphor for a common phrase. For example, time flies could be a clock with wings. Strength in numbers could be a group of stick figures holding up a heavy object together. Mini challenge, using only 5 shapes, draw one of these ideas: connection, balance, or growth. Keep it simple and playful. You'll be amazed at how much meaning can fit into just a few strokes. Take about 10 minutes for this exercise. Pause the video if you need to, and come back once you're ready. Activity 2. Visual Thinking River. Now that we've warmed up, let's move to something deeper: the Visual Thinking River. This exercise is about reflecting on your own learning journey through images and metaphors. It's a creative way to look at how you've grown as a thinker, a learner, and maybe even as a creator. Take a new sheet of paper, draw a big river that flows across the page. This river represents your learning journey from the past to the present. Think back to the moments when you understood something deeply because you saw it visually. Maybe it was a diagram that suddenly made a hard topic click. Or maybe it was a time you sketched an idea to explain it to someone else and it finally made sense. Now, along your river, draw symbols to represent key moments. You might draw rocks or whirlpools for obstacles, moments of confusion or struggle, trees or expanding streams for growth when your understanding deepened, bridges, forks, or waterfalls for turning points, when you changed direction or discovered something new. Add details that make the story personal. Maybe a little boat that represents you, a compass for guidance, or clouds for moments of uncertainty. Don't worry about how it looks. What matters is that your drawing tells a story, one that words alone could never capture. Take about 20 minutes for this. When you finish, step back and look at your river. What story does it tell? Where have you faced challenges? Where have you found flow? Let's take a moment to reflect on what you just created. What did you discover about the way you think and learn? Did you notice that certain symbols came more naturally to you? Maybe you used a lot of arrows, or perhaps you focused on shapes and figures. These preferences reveal your natural visual thinking style. By practicing these exercises, you've started building your own visual vocabulary. The more you use it, the easier it will become to think, learn, and communicate visually. You'll start reaching for a pen instead of a paragraph when you need to explain something complex. Remember, drawing is not about art. It's about clarity. It's about translating what's in your mind into something you can see, share, and refine. You don't have to be an artist to draw. You just have to be curious. The more you practice, the more fluent you'll become in this visual language. So today, we explored how drawing can become a thinking tool. You learned the basic elements of the visual alphabet, created your own symbolic drawings, and reflected on your personal learning journey through the visual thinking river. In our next lesson, we'll take this even further. We'll learn how to use visual frameworks, things like mind maps, concept models, and visual templates to structure and communicate complex ideas with confidence. Thank you for being part of this lesson. Keep your pen nearby and keep drawing your thoughts, because drawing is thinking. See you in the next session.